morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Well, the question is, as always, we have been discussing for 2.5 years, can we get rid of our fear to stop Russia, to support Ukraine in the way that it's, with the way that support is needed? Because I think that currently the biggest problem of almost all the questions that we are solving is our fear. That we're afraid of what Russia might think, of how Russia might react, how Russia might act. And at this point, our fear looks like it's an invitation. Not only an invitation to act more fiercely in Ukraine, with heinous attacks against civilian objects, destroyed supermarkets, killed children and women and innocent people, but also an invitation to act in our countries. And we're talking about hybrid activity in Baltic region, in Poland, in other countries, but it's going beyond that. And we know that Russia has intentions to act kinetically, meaning organize diversions, organize even what could be called terrorist acts within NATO countries. And it only acts so because it feels that it's invited, because it can calculate that we're not going to react in any meaningful way. And the way how to react to Russia's aggression in Ukraine and also in our countries is to support Ukraine, is to allow Ukraine to use the weapons that they already have the way that they need to use them. That is how you manage escalation, not by de-escalating, but allowing Ukraine to fight back and to win the war. This is how you stop Russia.
Minister Landsbergis, how do you want to influence Hungary to finally give up their blocking position when it comes to EPF?
I think we have to be transparent as to what Hungary's position currently is and has been. Because in most of the cases, we are taking a case by case. We looked into this, and apparently about 41% of resolutions by EU on Ukraine have been blocked by Hungary. The EPF is blocked. The accession start is currently being held, Ukrainian accession talks being held hostage by Hungary. And I could go on and on. The declaration on Georgia, the EPF to Armenia. So basically, almost all of our discussions and needed solutions and decisions by EU are being blocked by just one country. So we have to start seeing this as a systematic approach towards any efforts by EU to have any meaningful role in foreign affairs. So it's not case by case, and we have to start talking about this. I know that in some cases it might look as a non-diplomatic thing to do because we're kind people and polite people, but I think it has gone very, very far.
Do you think you should start Article 7 discussions?
Well, that has always been discussed, but you know that Article 7 also requires unanimity outside the one country, and we have to then to convince the countries among the 26 that the actions of one hinder all our ability to act to what is required of us in the way that is required of us.
What, if you haven't been able to stop Hungary blocking decisions, what fresh ideas are there to persuade them to change their?
Well, my point is, and this is what I'm doing this morning, is to come out and say, look, what is happening is not a unique thing that we've seen, that we're seeing currently, right? Because this question has been posed to me, a year ago and even 2 years ago. But when you look at it systematically, I mean, there has been, a very long track record, a history already of hindering Europe's ability to act. And it has to be mentioned, and we have to find a way, really, as a community, to work around this. Because if it's not counteracted, then we will be just stuck, ineffective, and unable to move, even in the places which are of vital importance to us.
The conference on Ukraine's peace plan in Switzerland is also an issue that's being discussed. And there is this hope to get countries like Brazil, India, China participating and on board more broadly. What do you want to see happen, or what do you think needs to happen to try and get these countries, to participate and to help with this?
Well, I think that the main thing, what should not be happening, is that an alternative peace plans would start appearing. This is what we would like to avoid, because we're seeing already China's attempt, together with Brazil, to offer their path forward. The only path forward has to come from Ukraine, which is a victim country, and they are the organizers. So from Switzerland, what the hope is that most of the countries that will participate will join in President Zelensky's peace formula, support it, and allow Ukraine, move to that direction. The worst case scenario is that some other alternatives appear. That would be very, very bad.
On Georgia, there will be just discussions, or we can expect some decisions on the end of this day?
I think that the best decision that could come out of our meeting today is that there would be an update, a public update on EU-Georgia's relations and on Georgia's EU path. I think it has to be, the current events have to be reflected, and I hope that there would be a very clear signaling from EU that if the law is adopted in its final version, Georgia cannot continue on its EU path no longer.
And what does it mean?
Well, that basically there would be a decision that the candidate status, which was given with a condition, that the conditions are not met, that means that the candidate status is there no longer.
It can be physically?
Politically, yes, because it's still a political concept, right? So it could be stopped.
Minister,
Thank you.
If you don't mind, just a quick question. Minister, understand that the Europeans are very worried to recognize the Palestinian state, not to give a credibility to Hamas.
Yes.
Don't you think also it is the only solution to the peace in the Middle East to recognize the Palestinian state?
Well, at this stage, this is not our idea.
So, my second question is, in case if the International Court of Justice adopt a decision to against the Prime Minister Netanyahu, will you accept it? Will you do it?
And also the leader of Hamas.
And the leader of Hamas.
Yes.
But, so you could.
Well, we are part of the convention, and we are going to continue to support this. Thank you. Looks like it's an invitation. Not only an invitation to acts within NATO countries. And it only acts so because it feels that it's invited. Because it can calculate to support Ukraine. It's to allow Ukraine to use the weapons that they all